You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits, B Pro Kennels, Final Rise, and Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. Big thanks to our title sponsor, B Pro Kennels. B Pro Kennels is a small business creating ultra high quality and custom dog boxes for the gun dog owner like you and I. No matter how big your string of dogs, B Pro Kennels will make sure you have a box that fits your needs for you and your gun dogs. With an innovative storage design and built-in solar panel and battery bank for quick access to charging accessories like dog collars, lights, fans, you name it. This is a dog box unlike anything you've seen before. Check them out at bprokennels.com. Oh, and they're made right here in the USA. And this is presented by Inukshuk Professional Dog Food, the world's highest energy dog food, period. Inukshuk's dense formulations ensure your pup in training and your seasoned bird dog get what they need to succeed in the field. High protein for muscle recovery and retention, high fat for quick access to much needed energy. Inukshuk works hard so your dogs can work harder. Check them out at inukshukpro.com. This podcast is also presented to you by Final Rise. All good things start with a solid foundation. At Final Rise, all three of their premium Upland vests are built around the foundational waist belt to provide you all-day comfort and endless customization. With a secure waist belt and thin, high-quality shoulder harness, this is the vest you can load down with birds and walk all day in. Final Rise is creating high-functioning upland gear that delivers comfort, balance, and a lifetime of memories. Check them out at finalrise.com. And this podcast is sponsored by Trinity Bretons, home of the Epagneul Breton, also known as the French Brittany. All Trinity Breton dogs are from champion bloodlines that are field-tested and family-approved. For over 33 years, Trinity Bretons has worked to offer you the best-bred Epagneul Breton in the country. Trinity offers puppies, the Trinity Upland Academy with George Hickox, starter dogs, stud services, and a whole lot more. Check them out at trinitybretons.com. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Upland Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, Will Larson, and as always, this is presented by Upland Brits. Y'all know that Upland Brits was an Instagram account I started called Gauge the Brittany when we picked him up in 2017. And I had no intentions, zero intentions of growing that or a podcast at all. It was literally, my wife ran it for a little bit and she was taking cute puppy pictures and whatever. I didn't even know there was a whole, I don't know. My viewpoint was so small. It was a small viewpoint on, I didn't know there's other people into bird dogs this much. And I didn't know there was this deep passion that would take over, my life and lots of your lives as well out there. So it was kind of fun to think back and remember, I guess, how all this started and how the passion's grown for me. And now even my kids too. It's so fun to see that develop in them. I've talked about my son Weston quite a bit and my other kids as well, but him in particular, he's got the bird dog bug. He loves the dogs, helps me feed them, and loves the pigeon aspect of things. And so, anyways, full circle, seeing things come around, seeing that develop in your kids is pretty special. So, anyways, got a good show for you today. Go over a couple things before we dive into the episode. First off, what was I going to say? We still have some Upland Rookie hats available. If anyone would like to pick up a hat, they are genuine leather patches on all the hats. Check out my Instagram page. You'll see a bunch of photos. There's also a story highlight on my profile if you want to check out all the hats, the pricing, all that good stuff. So I have pretty much every style still available, a couple of each one. So if you'd like to pick up a hat, these are nice premium hats, from trucker hats to legacies. Again, look really nice. So I've been digging them. Kids have been digging them too. He's been wearing them every chance he can. So anyway, they fit kids actually pretty well. They're not kid hats, but my kids have large heads, so it works out well for us. wanted to, I just got back from working some dogs on some birds, and it was freaking fun. So much fun. We had 3 puppies. We were working, actually no, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 puppies. We worked on pigeons, some quail out of a Johnny house, and man, it was so much fun. It just, I love working puppies. They were everywhere from like 9, I think, to like 14 weeks old, and man, just seeing the differences for one is really fun. Each puppy's, how they're developing, and again, they're close enough, but they're also, 9 weeks to a 14-week-old is pretty different. So seeing that, just that ignites a light in me as well, being able to again watch these pups develop, and I'm excited to see what they'll all turn out like. So anyways, Mac, he was able to get on some quail, get on some pigeon using his nose, which was very exciting. It's always I've had dogs that don't point early, and I just like a dog that points early. And he pointed a pigeon several weeks ago. It may have been around 9 or 10 weeks, maybe about 9 weeks. I had him out, pointed a pigeon with his nose, and I was stoked. But I haven't really done anything since then. I threw maybe 2 or 3 pigeons for him, got him excited. He was super pumped for those. So got him out again today. And man, seeing him use his nose, search, like seeing that develop now in him it's fun. It is really, really fun. So anyways, that went well. Seeing some other pups, use their talents. A couple of his litter mates too, and man, it's fun to watch them kind of just see where they're all at and see their differences and all that. So anyways, that's kind of a random tangent I just went on. But the other thing I was going to mention is we are near the end of not July. Gosh, I don't know where my time is going. End of September, and that means so this is the final week. You can get signed up on Patreon to be entered in the giveaway. We have 2 incredible prizes still happening for all Patreon members. So become a Patreon member today for as little as $5 a month. Not only you'll be supporting the show, supporting the podcast, but you'll be entered into some sweet giveaways, including this one. So we still have some great prizes from Cable Gangz and Gunner Kennels. So head over to Patreon, get signed up, and I will announce the winner on October 1st. So that'll be, I'll announce the winner October 1st for the September giveaway. And then we still have 1 more month of giveaways available. So lots of fun stuff happening over there. Also, for Patreon members, you guys get a discount on hats. So if you want to save a little money on a hat and you want to pick one up, double whammy. You not only get entered into the giveaway, but you'll also get a discount on the Upland Rookie hats. And I'll throw some stickers in. So anyways, I was going to go over real quick, this past September, we are in September still. Golly, I got too much going on right now. My September hunts, I was going to go over kind of my top 3 pieces of gear that I, used in September and were just kind of either surprised by or kind of like must have things. It was really, really hard to kind of narrow down top 3 things, but I did it. And don't get mad at me because one of the items is a product from one of my sponsors, Final Rise. So this is not a plug. This is just a product that I didn't know how much I would enjoy, but I did. And so that's just fair warning. That's in there. So first piece of gear that I'll just name it, that surprised me and I was so incredibly thankful for were the gloves from Final Rise. Yes, the gloves. I just thought it'd be another pair of gloves, like whatever. They're going to be just the same as everything else. Golly, was I wrong. They were super nice, especially hunting blue grouse in the mountains. Went on 3 or 4 blue grouse hunts, and they were just so freaking comfortable. The low cut cuff. A lot of gloves will kind of like ride up pretty high in your wrist, and it was just fine. It just gets in the way of your watch, and if you're wearing long sleeves. And anyways, I didn't know how much I would enjoy the feel, the comfort of these, and just the durability. Like I was trekking through some thick cover, some down trees, logs. I took a couple spills as well, and man, these things were game changers. I mean, I don't know how you would hunt in the mountains like that without a good pair of gloves. And so that was just a piece of gear. I went into it thinking, whatever, it's a pair of gloves. No, these are nice. These are really, really nice. So that is one piece of gear that I just, will always have in my vest. I'm probably going to buy another pair, keep it in my truck as well. So check out the gloves from Final Rise. That was a piece of gear that it really impressed me. Number 2 are, and I'm not sponsored by Crispy, but my Crispy Nevada boots. Again, bluegrass hunting, incredible, but prairies, anywhere I hunt, I'm wearing my Crispy Nevada boots, uninsulated. I was just reminded, again, kind of going through the mountains, it kind of hit me, but having a stiff, very dense sole boot, going through the mountains, walking over trees, logs, dirt, I mean, you name it, it is tough country. Sure, I walk the road sometimes, but I'm getting in there. Like I'm getting into the thick, nasty stuff, and sure, it's tough, and maybe there's easier ways to hunt bluegrass, but it was fun. So anyways, those boots, a game changer, just having something that's solid, that's, good ankle support. It's about, I call it like a mid height boot, maybe. I don't know. Uninsulated, your foot doesn't get too hot, especially upland hunting. I've had these things for 3 seasons. This is my 3rd season with them now. And I was just reminded going through the mountains a couple weeks ago of anyways, I'm flabbering now, but just a quality pair of boots. And so my Crispy Nevadas again made my top list. Okay, another item was and this is kind of funny because I'm pairing this with my episode today with Brennan Landry from Cable Gangz, but my Cable Gangz tie-out system. I've had this for 2 seasons now. Yeah, so my 2nd season with this. And again, I won't leave home without it when I'm traveling with my dogs. Brennan and I talk about this a little bit in the episode of as far as kind of why are we using the tie-out system, what's the purpose, reasoning, and but man, camping, chasing sharptails and chickens in Nebraska, staking the dogs out, easy, rolls up easy, it's durable. Just kind of an essential piece of gear for me that I am, never going to leave home without. I keep it in the back of my deck system, rolled up, 2 ground stakes, and it just gives you so much peace of mind, whether you're camping for recreation or for hunting. If you have your dogs on the road with you, having a quality tie-out system like the Cable Gangz one is, again, a must for me. And what else was I going to mention? There's one other piece of gear that I was thinking about. Golly, what was it? I can't remember now. Anyways, yeah, I'll think of it later. I'll put it up on social media or something. But anyways, those are kind of things that stood out to me this first month. Again, maybe I'll do this once a month and just kind of say, hey, this month for my hunting trips, what I've been doing. Here's kind of some of the gear that has stood out to me and stood the test of time. There was a couple things I packed. Like I overpacked some things. Like I packed my truck for my early season Nebraska hunt, and I just had so much extra crap in there that I never used. I probably need to write a list down of some of the stuff I didn't use. But I feel like I overpacked, like clothes, for example. Like I think 2 or 3 pairs of pants maybe is probably enough. Maybe even 2. I packed like 4, and I only wore 1. I mean, again, a couple years ago, I got soaked and it kind of ruined my hunt, but I think 2 pairs of pants is probably good. I overpacked some things. That was just kind of annoying having all this extra stuff in my truck. Oh, you know what I did though? I forgot on my Nebraska hunt. I don't know if I told you this or not. I forgot my cot. I brought the tent. I brought the sleeping pad, but I forgot the cot that I just got this year. I was super excited to use it, and so I got to Nebraska, setting up my camp, and I was like, "Where's my cot at? Is it in the back seat? No, it's not there. Is it in the bed of the truck? Nope, not there." So anyways, had some choice words in the middle of Nebraska when I realized I forgot my cot. But anyways, guys, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone had a great opening month of the season. I hope you made some memories with some family and friends, and maybe your kids and your bird dogs as well. I mean, it's a special time to get out there and start chasing birds and explore the new areas that you're going to try, and, see all the work that you put into your dog kind of pay off and come to fruition in the field. So hope everyone had a great opening month. There's still a lot of hunting left. You got all of October, November, December, some January, depending where you live. So maybe even February if you're a chucker hunter. So anyways, hope everyone's doing well. Tag the Upland Rookie Podcast in your social media posts, and would love to see kind of what you're experiencing out there and how your hunts are going, what you're learning. And I'll be sure to share some of that over on the Instagram and Facebook page. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to jump into episode 61 with Brennan Landry of Cable Gangz. Well, that's awesome, Brennan. We're going to jump right in here. I've been so excited to get you on the podcast, Brennan. And why don't we start off? Just give us a little overview of yourself and put us on a map. Where are you talking to us from?
So I'm Brennan Landry. I'm from Port Allen, Louisiana. Founder of Cable Gangz, tie-out systems, and just a everyday run-of-the-mill bird hunter, basically. So
that's awesome, man. You are the first guest from Louisiana on this podcast, so congratulations.
Not surprising. Thank you.
Congratulations.
There's some good people from here, man. You may enjoy interviewing a few if you can translate the heavy accents we have down here. I have a hard time hiding mine.
I remember you told me that a while back. You're like, "Oh man, if you get me on here, it's hard time understanding my accent." I'm like, "It's not bad at all." Hopefully, you can understand my Chicago accent.
Yeah, is that where you're from originally?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some things I pronounce kind of weird, so bear with me.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna be like, "What is that?" Talk to me a little bit about, raising bird dogs, being an upland hunter in Louisiana. Like, what's that like?
So for here, the major game is American woodcock. So we get winter flights. This is a huge endpoint migration for most of those birds out of both flyways, the eastern and the central woodcock flyways. So about November, we start to load up with birds, and they could be here as late as March in some years. So, and there's a little bit of wild quail hunting. It's not easy. It takes a lot of miles to find them. I'm not good at it. They're definitely, for the most part, safe from me, but I do try every once in a while. And it's fun to get into those every so often as well. So
yeah, I bet. Now, have wild quail were kind of like maybe like a Georgia or somewhere like that? Were they really good back in the day, from what you know, and then they just kind of have dwindled?
It was phenomenal, even into the 80s, from what I understand. A lot of people around here had bird dogs and hunted quail religiously, consistently hunted quail and had good success. But as the numbers went down, I guess they didn't convert to woodcock as easily as, people in my generation who never had that experience of great quail hunting. So, I'm happy to go out and point and shoot woodcock, and, if I can find quail occasionally, great. But if not, it's not worth quitting bird hunting for me. So,
yeah. So the woodcock keep you coming back. It sounds like that's kind of the bread and butter.
Yeah, pretty much for here. That's what you got. That's the big game in town. So
yeah, that's
if you don't like woodcock hunting, you got to do something else.
Yeah, go find a new hobby.
Yeah, deer hunt or whatever.
Yeah. No, I've never hunted woodcock. I would absolutely love to someday, but sounds like a ton of fun. Sounds like you can get some pretty good dog work from woodcock too, right? From what I understand.
Yeah.
Holding pretty tight.
Yeah, they hold really tight. They'll sometimes you'll get a bird that's holding just a couple feet in front of your dog's nose. They occasionally they will run, but for the most part, yeah, they're really tight holding birds, and you can find them in some really concentrated numbers sometimes, which is also really fun. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Brennan, we're going to unpack a whole lot more here on this episode. Definitely want to get into the company Cable Gangz that you started not too long ago. As well as kind of the meat of this conversation. I'd love to talk about the importance of a tie-out system. I've been wanting to get someone on for a little while to talk about that a little bit more. People ask me sometimes, hey, why? Why do you put a dog on a tie-out system? So definitely want to unpack that. But we're going to back it up a little bit to get to know you a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing into upland hunting, bird dogs. Like, where did that obsession start, or where did that passion start for you?
I started when I was really young. I was chasing, blackbirds and stuff around with a pellet gun or whatever, just bird hunting. Take them home, clean them, eat them. That's basically where hunting started for me. My dad and I, we did some squirrel hunting and stuff like that when I was probably before I was 10 years old. And, he had a dog that he told me a lot of stories about. He had this dog, BJ, and he would tell me these hero stories about retrieves and stuff that this dog would make. She was a lab, and it always intrigued me a lot. And when he and I were getting big I was, I guess, old enough and big enough for him to take me duck hunting with him, I started getting an interest in getting a lab. So when I was about 9, he bought a dog for me that I was supposed to train. And, I worked with her, and I mean, she was a terrible dog, but I did the best I could with her. And, she would get birds, and I would take her on my side out and go and shoot blackbirds and things like that and let her retrieve them for me. So it all basically started there. He and I started duck hunting. This is probably almost 1990, a long time ago. Sure. I was 9 years old, and it was a really great spot we used to be in. He put me in stocking waders from Walmart, $14 a pair.
There you go.
We'd go out there, and he'd drag me in a P-row, and we'd duck hunt. And
that's cool.
I fell in love with it there. So that was where I started. Waterfowl and dove hunting was where I started to really grow a passion for bird hunting and labs and retrieving dogs. But as I got older and duck hunting started to get a little less consistent, I got into woodcock hunting. And once that started, it was just, I fell in love with it. It's, to me, it was more contact with working a dog. You're kind of working a dog for 3 or 4 hours straight instead of just, shortly for, a few retrieves in the morning. And it was just something that it really resonated with me, and I've been in love with it ever since.
That's awesome, man. So just to take that step further a little bit with woodcock hunting, I can't imagine it's like a super popular thing, woodcock hunting, upland hunting in Louisiana. Like I said, what was that tipping point for you that kind of brought you into the woodcock hunting, and when did the dogs come into play?
So I initially got my first Brittany. This was about 11 years ago. I initially got her to supplement duck hunting because the club I was in was primarily deer hunters, so they had come up with some rules to where we were only going to duck hunt 2 or 3 days a week. So I decided to get one because they had a guy in the club with us who was who had bird dogs, and he was using his dogs to hunt woodcock. And I went with them one time, and it was a blast. I mean, I was sold the first time I went, so I figured it would be a good idea to get one to supplement that, those days a week that I wasn't going to be able to hunt waterfowl. And then over time, after about 3 or 4 years in, I was going on public land and hunting woodcock more than I was hunting waterfowl. So I ended up getting out of the club and just totally committing to this, and needed more dog power because all I had was one dog. So I started to picked up my other 2 pointers I have now, and just kind of snowballed from there,
Yeah, that's what happens. I feel like once those dogs kind of come into play, it's this slippery slope of adding more, and
you got to have the dog power,
Yeah, it's all about dog power. Come on,
you got to have it.
So do you still
get by with one dog?
Yeah, no. Do you still have that first Brittany?
Yeah. She's,
okay. So
she's
how
going
was she
into her 12th year? Yeah.
Okay. And so you got her kind of originally almost as you said supplement duck hunting. Did you ever do any duck hunting with her?
No, only woodcock. Yep.
Okay.
I never used her for retrieving. I always had labs for retrieving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're taking the Brittany into a duck blind. That's pretty cool.
No way. I still have my lab. I actually got a lab. 6 months later, I got the Brittany. So I was training 2 young dogs at once back. That was about 11 years ago. So.
Oh, geez.
It was busy, but it was fun.
Yeah, I bet it's busy. Did you just kind of dive in, like again, what was that learning curve like for you? Again, diving into this, now picking up your own dogs, you got the lab, the Brittany. Like, where'd you turn to for okay, now I have these dogs. What do I do with them? How do I train them?
So when I was 11 or 12 or 13, they would be seminars occasionally near my house for like a local retriever club, and I would go and attend those, learn as much as I could. I mean, ever since day one, I've been a student of, anything I can learn or get my hands on to learn about dog training or different methods and techniques. I just soaked it up, So I started going to those seminars, reading books, getting DVDs, started with the retrievers. But, and then when I got the Brittany, it's a lot of parallels, as far as consistency. The actual drills and the work that you do is different, but there's a lot of similarities as well. So I was already pretty solid on good obedience work, taking small steps, with labs when you're teaching things with them. So it's basically just something I rolled over. And I didn't do the best job with my Brittany. The first one I had, it was more just plant birds, take her out in the field. If I can get her stopped, even with a check cord, try to shoot it for her, let her retrieve it. I mean, I know there's a lot more to it than that now, especially, when you're talking about getting dogs broke steady to wing shot and fall. And but back then, that's basically all I was doing was obedience work in the yard and then planting birds and trying to get them shot for her.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I love just kind of diving in, figuring it out yourself, and just seeing where it takes you. So when did the pointers, when did they come into play? So you had the Brittany, you had the lab. Mm-hmm. Now what led you down that path?
So when my Brittany was about 5 or 6, I drove up to Texas, like Northeast Texas, and picked up another one. A couple months later, I was out in West Texas on a hiking trip, and the dog ended up disappearing. And couldn't find her, searched all over, put out signs, made a bunch of posts on social media and stuff. Never ended up finding her, but I just built a loft. I just had a bunch of homing pigeons that I went and started my own flock, and I knew it was time for me to start another dog. So I kept seeing this ad in Gun Dog Central. This guy from Sinla had a litter of pointers, and they were really, I want to say they were like $100 or $150. After calling him and talking to him, he was, talking about what the parents did and they hunted. I took a really big chance on her, but that was how I ended up with Sprinkles. I like to call her a diet pointer because she's a dropper, so she's like half setter, half pointer. She wasn't all pointer, but after seeing the things that she would do after just a couple years and compared to the Brittany that I have, it kind of got me thinking, hey, there's something to this pointer thing. I want to get this. I like the way this dog will kind of go as far as I let her. She's finding more birds at a young age, and that's just a comparison with my Brittany. Not saying anything bad about Brittany. It's one of the best woodcock dogs I ever saw in my life was a Brittany. But I like the pointers. I like the style. I like the big race they had, and so I got her, and I got Sprinkles. She turned out really good. That's my diet pointer, and researching when it was time to add another one, I started looking up cover dogs and things like that. I ended up stumbling upon High Five Kennels. That's Bruce Minor up in Michigan.
Okay.
He's got champion grouse dogs. He's got really nice pointers that are winning trials on woodcock and grouse. So I ended up contacting him and talking to him a lot. At that point, I was still kind of apprehensive about a pointer, because you read all this stuff about woodcock hunting and things like that. Now you need a dog to work close, and these pointers are big runners and all that.
That was going to be my next question. Is like, again, I don't think the typical person thinks of a pointer in a woodcock dog or a grouse thick cover.
They excel at it. Honestly, they, it's putting a handle on them. It's really important to do that. When you got a dog that might want to range a lot, and once you let them earn their range and you see that they're holding birds and stuff like that, you can kind of just let them roll. They're going to go as far as they need to go to find a bird, but hunting with you, handling for you, you're not going to see them a lot. I run a bell and a GPS on mine, but I keep them in earshot with the bell, and you find them pointed a lot. That's for sure.
That's all that matters, right?
That's really what matters. And for me, for my style of hunting, I love that big, fast, exciting race that a cover dog, a pointer, or setters do it, Brittany's do it. They all do it. But for me,
that's what you're looking for. That's what excites you.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I like. I like the big, exciting race. I mean, I don't like to just run a dog and relax and just kind of like, smell the flowers. I like to be mentally glued to that dog. Like,
sure.
That's kind of like, I don't know. I like being tied, like really tuned into it like that. And I mean, with those pointers, if you take your mind off of them for a second, you don't bend them around when you need to. They may be 350 yards through a cover. And
yeah. So do your dogs, and I guess, do your dogs do this, and do you like, do they check in a lot? Do you like them to check in, or do you just let them go? You kind of, again, audibly with the bell, GPS, you know where they are?
I definitely, I handle them. I hunt really loud in the woods. I mean, I'm always singing out to them and stuff, You don't have to be quiet to hunt woodcock, and that's good. So I'm hollering out to them, here, they'll bend around out front and show, and I'll let them make their move. And if they start to get, a ways out, or I want to go a different way, I holler back out, they'll bend around. But yeah, I mean, I handle them. I keep them within, a reasonable range. I'm not going to let them just go 400 yards through a cover, but
sure.
Yeah, they're definitely, you're definitely keeping them tied to you. And, with this young dog I have, she'll try you every time down. She's going to try to blow out. And a lot of times, right when I turn her loose, she'll try to make like a 200 or 300 yard move, and I just kind of got to keep her reeled in.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
I like that drive, though.
Yeah, no, it's sexy. Yeah. It's sexy. You gotta love it. Again, like you said, it's something that excites you. It's like you're attuned into that dog and where they are, where they're going, what the pursuit is. And I don't think. Yeah, I'm not out there to like, oh, this is lovely. Like, no, you're there for a job.
I'm not into sports. I'm not into race cars. I'm not into anything. But I want to see extreme athleticism, in my dogs, and like that. That's where I kind of like the excessive power and horsepower and speed, and that's where I kind of get it from. But you read
exactly.
a lot about like Brittany's are good for, but how American Brittany's are. You have them; they'll blow out and run huge too.
Totally. Yeah. If you shut up and don't say anything, like Gage is going to get out there for a couple hundred yards, and
he's going to roll for sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, have you dabbled or tried and gotten into any of the trial side of things, or you just hunting your dogs, or
never run a trial? I think I've got one I'm going to run this January. The guy's putting one on in Louisiana. I'm going to go try and run it. But that will be my first time.
Okay, that's awesome. Yep. Which dog are you going to run?
I'll probably run Velcro, which is my young pointer, and I may run Sprinkles. Not sure. She's I don't know. If I ran her, it would just be because we don't have a ton of enrollment or whatever. We need some more dogs.
You need more dogs,
right?
Okay. Oh, Sprinkles! I love those names, Sprinkles and Velcro.
Oh, man. I know. My daughters, they name all my dogs.
I was going to say, did your kids name those dogs?
Yeah, absolutely. I just go with
awesome.
it, I sometimes I think people take names too seriously, I mean, it's just a dog name. You can call them whatever. Yep. They don't care.
Yeah, they really don't. They don't mind.
They don't care.
They don't mind at all.
No.
The recent dog we picked up, we named Mac after McKinnon from the Avalanche, big hockey family. But in my mind, going into the naming this dog, I'm like, I want to name him like a hunting name, like an outdoors name.
Right.
But once the kids, we talked about Mac for a second, they were all about it. They're like, nope, this is it. He's naming Mac. And it took me a second. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up with a Sprinkles. But you know what? I love that name now. I think it's, it's silly, but whatever. I got a dog named Sprinkles,
We'll have to track this, Brennan. So a couple years from now, we need to kind of see the trends start. There's going to be a couple more Sprinkles out there, I bet.
I hope so, man. That's a great dog name.
I agree. What was last season like for you? What were some of the highlights, some of the key learnings or takeaways for you for hunting season?
Highlights for me are always when I get out with my son and, I'm just working dogs and he's shooting and he's having fun getting some birds. He and I had some really awesome walks. One day we went out and I'm starting to make him kind of remember to get his own shells and things like that now, not just like carrying everything for him, kind of giving him some responsibility there. And so I think he loaded up a decent amount of shells, but I bet we were about an hour into the walk and he was out, and we were still pointing woodcock, and we even ran into a covey on the way out, a covey of quail. So it was like, man, just watching everything fly off. But it was super memorable just to get into that many birds and just having fun with him out there. Other than that, I enjoy even running on woodcock during the season without a gun, just carrying a cap pistol. And I had some really good days with my old training mentor, Frank Barrett. He and I went out and got into a pile of birds one day. I think we had 6 dogs. We each ran all of our dogs and got into a bunch of birds and just ran them broke and had fun. Shot a few, got a lot of good dog work in. And another day that was really fun, I had a buddy down from Pennsylvania. He comes down. He's starting to come down here to train in the winter, and he and I just ran tons of dogs. I bet we ran probably almost 10 dogs that day, and didn't find a ton of birds, but we got some good dog work. And I was in a new area I'd never been, just going off map pins, and we went in there and found 20, 25 birds and just had some good dog work.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Those are memories that they're going to stick with you, not just this year, but I think for years to come.
Yep.
That's cool. You, last thing I kind of wanted to ask you about, I mean, you're always posting stuff of, getting your dogs training, steadying them up. Do you have your dogs broke all the way through the release, the fall, and then you don't take us through the whole process, but like where'd you learn that from? I know you mentioned a mentor. Like, can you take us through that training progression, maybe?
Yeah, in theory, they're broke like that.
As soon as you say they are, they're not.
They're never done at all. You always got to work on them. But I basically do. My buddy Frank Verrett, he's an awesome dog trainer. I mean, anything the guy tells me to do, it's always worked. And I think it's rare to find somebody you can say that about. But yeah, he taught me, the way he taught me is, barrel, board work, things like that, to show the dog to stand still, get them standing still, even when they're young, just teaching them to learn, and that you putting your hands on them isn't a bad thing. So if you have to go up to them after they move and set them back or something, they're not like cowering or letting down or anything like that. And then slowly introducing flying birds while you have them standing like that. The whole time running them in fields, letting them knock and chase and not overlaying any of that work. And eventually, they start putting 2 and 2 together. Once they get about a year, I'm not going to even put an age on it, but once they're hunting hard and pointing birds and not ripping them anymore, which I let them go through all that. I love to see a puppy starting to find its own birds and just ripping them out of there and then off to the races. That gets me excited. As excited as a nice broke find, but doing that and then letting them go through that stage, letting them raise hell for a while, and then eventually starting to slowly overlay that yard work and take the chase out until you got them standing real nice. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen the barrel stuff. I've seen some of the play sport stuff. I haven't tried that yet, but looks like a very effective way for sure.
It's just it's one of those things. Some people hate it. You hear some people say there's no barrels out in the field, and there's a lot of people that don't use it and have really nice dogs that are broke and look like $1 million after flushes and all that. And it's just it's one of 1,000 methods out there to get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think I said that on the Smith interview in my little opening. I was like, there's one way to do it, or there's one way here, but then there's 20 other ways, to do the same thing. So it's all what works for you as the handler and the trainer, and so everyone's got to find their sweet spot of what works for them and their dog. So.
Yeah, and don't subscribe to just one method and just like be glued to it. Take pieces you like from here, take pieces you like from here, and just But by the time it's said and done, if you end up with a nice dog that is composed on its game and doing what you want it to do, it doesn't matter, what route you had to go to get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like as long as you got there and you had fun and you enjoyed it. And that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, kind of, I guess, carrying along the lines of training a little bit, I'd love to kind of unpack a little bit more. Let's talk about the importance of a tie-out system for a dog.
Okay.
First off, why? Like let's talk about why. Someone let's take someone maybe picked up a new dog, they have a young dog, they just haven't heard of this before.
Right.
Why would they want to do this?
Well, a tie out is one. It becomes a place for your dog. It's his place. It's a place where they can relax, eat, drink, relieve themselves, lay down, rest, stand up, pay attention to things around them if they want. But they have to be patient. They have to sit there, and they're learning that neck cue while you've got them on there. That's from a dog standpoint. Some people think that they can learn things from watching other dogs on a stakeout. I don't really necessarily think that is 100% true. If dogs could learn by watching other dogs, I think it would be a lot easier to train them. But maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know. But as far as that, and then from a person's standpoint, it's just easy to have your dogs on a tie out. It's easy to feed them. It's easy to get them out of the box, let them stretch, let them have a spot, get them in the shade, out of the hot truck. If you got wet dogs and bedding in your boxes, you can let them sit on the tie out or the stake out or whatever and dry out. And trying to think of some other things.
But Brennan, I put the dog in a tie out and it barks. It barks in the tie out. What do I do?
You don't do anything. You let it bark and you wait until it's calm, and then you go over there and you tell him what a good boy he is. So like a new dog, a brand new dog, I put them on, a single stake out immediately. If you have a new dog that's never been on one, you can put the stake up against a wall or a fence, something where it can't necessarily circle and kind of move around too much. Let it sit there, but get where you can watch it. And as long as nothing's happening, if he's just whining and pulling, that's no big deal. You just kind of watch, but take yourself out of the equation,
like walk away?
Yeah, but where you can see him or her. And, pay attention. As soon as he calms down, walk over there and give him a treat. Tell him what a good puppy he is, and then let him off and go play. That's session number one.
Yeah. So you're acknowledging the good behavior, the calm,
right.
The calm demeanor. He quieted down. Like you're going back and saying, "Hey, good job." And then will you kind of leave him again? So take us through that scenario. He's barking. He's going crazy. Finally calms down. You go over. Now. Do you walk away again?
I'd probably take him off for that day. That'd be a session, even if it was 2 minutes before it calmed down. That'd probably be first day. Okay, we're done with that now, and then I may repeat it again the next day. Until, there's times where you're just hanging out outside and you can put them on the tie out, whether it's one dog and you have a single stake or you have a whole tie out gang with multiple, you get them sitting there and you're out there barbecuing or something, and they're just hanging out for 20 or 30 minutes, just being calm, learning their spot. And, you can even do that with older dogs. So with teaching them to calm down and just sitting there and not being rowdy or jumping on people and things like that.
Yeah, that's a really good thing because again, with me jumping into bird dogs and hunting and all that, like the first couple things you start researching is like their kennel,
right.
Kennel. Again, they're den animals. They should learn to be calm and patient in there, which made perfect sense. It wasn't until a couple years into this where I saw someone having their dogs on a tie out system, and then it kind of started to click for me a little bit of like, kind of the same concept, right?
Sure.
Like it's a place where they can get comfortable, relax, calm, like you were saying.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of a thing that just a lot of maybe people new to this just don't realize. Like you hear about the kennel, it's very popular. I think it's great,
yeah.
But the tie-out system is maybe not as popular. Do you know why? Like why? Is there a reason for that? Or
I don't think it's necessarily something that's high on the list of essential gear like a kennel or dog food or, vaccinations and things like that for most people.
Sure.
And like you said, people may just not have heard about it or know the benefits. But, if you ever go to a training day and you use one and somebody's got their gang out and their dogs are all collars dressed, ready to go, and they're kind of working through them, and you kind of get to use it and see it in action.
So right around this time, we had a small audio issue, so I'm going to use this time to remind you to become a Patreon supporter today. We still have 2 more months of giveaways happening over at patreon.com, so sign up for as little as $5 a month and not only support the show, but be entered into some sweet giveaways and have a discount on Upland Rookie hats.
Where you can get to them all easily. Just things like that. Once you start using it, then you kind of see, okay, this is a major benefit to me, especially if you've got multiple dogs. But even with one, I mean, you can use a single stakeout and have one dog where, if you're at your hunting camp or something like that and you just want your dog to hang out and you're outside and you don't want them wandering off or ended up chasing a possum or a rabbit out.
Yeah, it's peace of mind for sure. It's a peace of mind going, I know where my dog is. He's not in a kennel, so he can, like you said, walk around a little bit, do his business, eat, drink, but you're not having to worry about, you're at a campsite or even at trials. I've gotten into some trials over the last couple of years, and again, they're long days. You get there early, you're there late, and I want my dog in the kennel the whole time. And so being able to have like some kind of a tie-up system like that, again, he's out in the fresh air, get him in the shade a little bit.
And having them restrained and safe isn't a bad thing,
Yeah.
Like, especially like you said, I mean, wandering around, they're burning up energy, maybe getting into something they don't need to get into.
Totally.
It's just a good, safe spot for them, a peace of mind for you, and you know where to find them for sure.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be right there.
Yeah. They're not running off eating out of the gut pile at the hunting camp, catching who knows what.
Catching who knows what, being off in the woods.
Exactly.
Can you talk you mentioned it briefly, but the neck cue, the neck pressure, I've heard that reference before. Like, can you talk about a young dog, like what does that start to do in them and kind of start to develop that neck pressure?
It just starts to let them realize that when they feel pressure on the neck from pulling, that they don't get anywhere. So then when you go to leash work or check cord work, something like that, they feel the neck cue. It's easier for them to connect those dots and realize that, okay, I need to give to this. I need to sit because you're pulling up. I need to walk back this way because you're pulling me this direction, or, different things like that. And you think a lot of the obedience work you do at your side is all off neck cues.
Sure.
Well, mostly, when you're teaching basic obedience, sit, come, lay, all this stuff, it's all you cue the neck.
All the neck, until you get further on and flank and all that. But I was going to say, oh crap, I forgot my question. Neck cue.
Cut.
Yeah, rewind. This is live, people. So with neck cue, pressure, puppy. Nope, I'm not there. It's going to come back to me in a second. Okay. But with
how about could we talk about some things to not do with a stakeout?
Yes, thank you. Let's go into that.
So a couple things. One, when you're driving a stake, if you have clips on both ends, you want to take that off while you're driving it. Shock to those brass clips can cause them to, I don't know how it does it. I need to find a super slow-mo camera and watch, but it can cause those clips to get wrecked.
And just so everyone knows what we're talking about, it's the clip,
the brass clip on the D-ring of the stake. Yeah. Okay. Some people buy them from me with a stainless swivel, and then those are fine to drive in. Those stainless swivels don't react to that shock like the brass snaps
it's
do.
The brass one that's clipped onto that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to attach a dog to the end of your gang if all you have is a straight stake down there. So like if you attach them to around the thimble or the loop on the main line or maybe the O-ring, and all you have is a straight stake, they could potentially wrap around that. That's something you don't want to do. Definitely don't forget about having them in shade with water, things like that. And I don't like to leave mine unattended on a gang. Anything can happen. It's just safer to not do that. What else? I don't like rowdy dogs on the ends. I feel like they're served better in the middle on the ends where my stakes are. I'd rather have my calmer dogs, because in the middle they're going to move around a lot no matter what. When you drive those stakes and you have them angled out, those dogs are going to cause your stakes to walk up a little bit. If they're on the stake, they can move around or jerk around so much where they end up pulling it out.
Oh, if they're on the end, closer.
Yeah, if they're on the ends. Yep.
Okay.
So,
and I've heard people say to put young dogs or puppies in the middle, towards the middle. Is there a reason for that?
I think Yeah, they say because they want them to get jerked around. They want them to get pulled when other dogs move and learn to give to neck cues. But I think with that cable and the weight of it, the fact that it's lighter, there's more pop to it. I don't like a really tiny dog in the middle when there's more rowdy dogs on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they could get jerked around too much. But yeah, so I don't use it like that. But
okay. And then you put out a really fascinating video not too long ago on your social media about how to drive the stakes in, and I'll try to link to that in the show description here. It blew my mind because here's what I was doing: I was putting each stake in just straight down, and I would kind of pull it tight, put them straight down, and it would always get kind of loosened, like the stake and the dirt would just kind of give way. Can you just, again, without a video is worth a million words, but can you just kind of describe, I guess, briefly, like the process of putting a gang down?
So I start with, you take one stake on one side, you angle it away from, basically outward from how your main line's going to lay. You drive it in about 2/3 of the way, you go to the other side. If you catch the main line ring in the stake and you push it over a ways, and then you can use leverage to, I'm so bad at explaining things.
No, it's good. It's good.
You can use leverage to get it really tight and to get it to the base of that stake before you start driving it. And then when you angle that one outward, every time you drive it, it's getting a little bit tighter, and then you can go over and finish your other side. That way your main line is like guitar string tight. You want it tight. You don't want a super loose main line. You don't want it, and all pulled up into your dog's chests and things like that when they're moving around on it. You want it tight.
Totally.
So as tight as you can get it, by that leverage thing is kind of like you're slingshotting it to the bottom of the stake.
Sure. So in
link
the end,
video. I can't explain.
No, I will link to it for sure. So both of those stakes are going to kind of be angled out, right?
Angled outward, yep.
And pounded pretty darn low to the ground.
Pretty low to the ground, yeah. You want to get it as much as you can. The more friction and contact you have with the shaft of that stake, the tighter and more secure it's going to be in the ground. So, you don't want to just, I know some soils you can't get them far in. It's just the nature of the substrate or whatever area you're in. But, you want to get them as deep as you possibly can. That's the more secure installation.
Well, that video was a game changer for me. So
it helped you good, man.
Oh, 100%.
Nice.
I was getting so frustrated. I was like, why is it so loose? Why is it so loose? And once I did this, it keeps that main line nice and tight, which is great. And
even when you have them angled outward, your dogs pulling in the middle they're gonna stand them up kind of straight, and you're gonna get a little loose. It's gonna get a little loose, but not as bad as it would if you went straight up and down. And also, don't hesitate to reset your stakes. If your main line gets loose after a day or two, I'll pull mine up one side at least and reset them all the time.
Sure. Yeah, you got to do a little routine maintenance, right?
Yeah, just not with the dogs on them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another don't do. Hey, I remembered what I was going to say earlier about the neck cues. This was like 10 minutes ago. Is the dog's learning that you're not in the equation, right? Like you're not.
Exactly.
Like you have nothing to do with it. They're learning themselves that, I'm pulling, I'm not getting anywhere, like you said.
You're not keeping him on the chain. He's just on the chain. He's not looking at you like, why aren't you helping me?
So he's not associating Will or Brennan with,
exactly.
Gosh, I can't get off this. Neck pressure. It's annoying. Like they have no connection with us, which I think is a good thing. They're not going to associate a negative thing with the handler.
Right. Yep.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. I remembered that.
Then they associate you with something good when you come back and you have the treat or a bowl of water or something like that you're giving them once they're calm.
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's my hero.
Yeah, exactly. Food, finally. Well, I was doing that. You saw a couple days ago. Again, I got a trip coming up here with hunting season, and I'm like, you know what? Like, again, they're not on the line all the time, but I'm like, all right, let's start conditioning them because again, when we're traveling, we're camping, we're staying in motels, whatever it is. Like, they're going to be on this cable gang quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do the routine things like we're going to be doing on the road: eating, drinking, just chilling, being calm.
That's one thing I like to work on with mine because I hate when I'm traveling and my dogs go off feed. They're used to eating in the kennel or at a spot in the house every day. And all of a sudden you take them on a trip and it's like, here, we're in this gas station parking lot. Here's your food. Eat it.
Yeah.
And some dogs will just not do it, and they may not eat well for 3 or 4 days on a trip. Yeah. So I like to start feeding mine on the gang and just kind of get them used to it, offering food for maybe 10 minutes. picking it up. And then normally, you know, after a little while with that, you got them smashing it while they're on the game,
Sure.
which is,
yeah.
I mean, when you're traveling and hunting every day, that's what you want. You want them wolfing down all the calories they can get, you know?
Totally, yeah, and again, it's that simple gang. That's the association of like, hey, I did this
Right.
at home. I was comfortable. I was
Exactly.
happy. So same thing at the truck stop or wherever you are.
Rest stop area at 2 in the morning. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, good times, man. Well, if we think of anything else, I would love to, feel free to bring it up. This is this is a casual podcast,
This is very formal. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah. You can tell I broke out the suit and tie for this. So,
yeah.
I'd love to transition a little bit and talk a little bit more about your company that you started. What led you to start Cable Gangz? The most pressing question that I have, and all of America does, is why is it spelled Gangz?
Oh, when you put the Z, it makes it cooler. It's really edgy, man.
I've been wanting to ask you that ever since I've known you.
I don't know. Just because I think with the S, it's like, other people that sell it, they're like, we have Cable Gangz. So I wanted the company name to be,
sure,
I don't know, something different.
Yeah.
Plus, anytime I can use a Z in replacement for an S, I'm going to jump all over that personally. I don't know about you, but.
Why not, right? Why not? It's your company. You do what you want.
Exactly. Yep.
So what led you down this path, man? What said, what triggered in you to be like, all right, I'm starting to make my own Cable Gangz, going to be selling these. Like what tell us that story a little bit.
So 2020, I was working from home a lot. Every other week I was at home. So I'm here in the mornings when it's kind of cool. It's March. I'm working dogs a lot. And, I wanted to rebuild some of the cable stuff because I had been making them, leashes and little tie out systems for on the road and at my house for a while. And they had broke. My main line on my shop had broke because I had, I'd built them kind of not well. So I wanted to buy some new stuff to make it. And I had an idea to get orange cable because, I liked the way it looked. I'd see it better in the grass. But everything I was looking at to get it at a decent price, I had to buy bulk. So I figured, I'll buy bulk and I'll make a few and I'll put them up on the Louisiana Upland Dog or something Facebook page and maybe, sell some to pay for the excess that I had to buy. It was like 30 minutes I was sold out. So then I thought, after researching to build them right whenever I was, because I had been doing it, swaging over the PVC and stuff when I was building them. And I was wondering why I was failing. I started looking up, I started looking at rigging techniques and the proper way to swage and make loops and things like that. And so I thought, nobody else that was making them was doing that. So I figured, hey, I can make these things that are really going to last and not fail like mine did. So I started making them, practicing, using them for a while, handing some out, getting people, people's opinion on it, seeing, because if you think you can make something indestructible, just make it and start selling to bird dog people because they will show you quickly that
you're going to prove you wrong.
There's a dog out there that can break anything you put out there. So that's how I started, man. I started the company with like $400 and my wife thought I was crazy. And
she's like, what are you doing spending all this extra time in the garage now?
Exactly. She had a little side business that was really successful for a bunch of years that she started because she was a stay-at-home mom with our second kid, and she's a busybody, man. She wasn't having it, so she starts this business, Be Pure Apiary. So she's got bees and she makes food wraps and stuff like that with it, with the products that she gets from the hives, and I started leaning on her a lot as far as like sourcing and things like that and getting an LLC and all because she had experience with all that. She still kind of thought I was crazy, but now she's kind of like backing away from that and helping me out a lot now. So
there you go.
Weird, but
team effort.
Circle.
Team effort, man. So it sounds like this kind of came about out of, again, kind of a need. Like you broke your previous system and then you started looking around and like, all right, like I think I can build this myself. And then it sounds like you just had some iterations. You kept testing and kind of figuring out what was going to be the secret sauce. Can you kind of, for those listening, maybe they haven't seen Cable Gangz, haven't checked it out, what's kind of the basic components of it? It's like an aircraft cable, like the center of that main line?
Yep. That's what they call it, aircraft cable. My main lines are 3/16 inch 7x19 construction, galvanized cable. It's about 4,200 pound brake strength, the cable itself. I swage button stops along the main line in pairs at drop attachment points every 6 feet. So you take what's called drops, and it's the smaller cable, 1/8-inch cable, coated to 3/16, and it's like 1,900 pound cable.
And that's one that attaches from the dog to the main line.
To the dog to the main line, and you put the clip in between the two button stops, which holds it there, and then you have your dogs every 6 feet. I make all kind of different configurations of that. I make permanently attached ones, which some people like because it's got the 1/4-inch stainless swivels between the button stops instead of being able to remove them with the clips. It's more secure, definitely. It can be a pain to roll up the longer systems because all your drops don't come off. They're still attached whenever you go to roll it up. But I like those. I finally messed up on one the other day, so now I have a big perm to test out this season. So that's how I get all my Cable Gangz that I use. I mess up on somebody's stuff. Then it's mine.
And you're like, well.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. What, just kind of like the business side of things, like what have you learned over the last, you've been business, what, year and a half, almost 2 years now?
2 years, yep.
Well, maybe some learnings that you've taken away of starting this business and being successful at it.
I didn't have a business. I don't have a business mind at all. I'm not going to even say I didn't like I do now, but no, I don't have a business mind, man. So it was like learning to account for all my expenses, not, sweeping anything under the rug or not accounting for an expense when I'm coming up with prices on things. That was something that I wasn't good at initially. Sourcing things, just, customer service, man. That's kind of what sets me apart. Somebody breaks something and they didn't buy it long ago. I'm not going to ask them a million questions and try to blame it on them. I just replace it,
That's been something I've really appreciated, man. It's just, nothing's broken for me or anything like that, but, questions. So I have a silly question on a steak or a drop or something. You're quick, you're honest, you're upfront, and I've appreciated that about you.
Appreciate that.
There's other companies building whatever, vests, Cable Gangz, things like that. And so having someone that is attentive to their customers it makes a huge difference. So I appreciate it.
Who's in dogs and obsessed with dogs is another
exactly.
good positive. I'm using this stuff every day.
Yeah,
it's like between me and my buddies and people I send stuff to across the country. We put it through the ringer before we put anything out there. So.
Yeah. No, I bet. And so you personally, you're making all these still yourself, right? There's no one helping you besides your kids, maybe, right? I've seen your
Sometimes
kids helping
my
you a little bit.
And my wife Allison is doing all the shipping right now, and she normally will cut all the main lines and stuff for orders that we get for one day. So I come home and they're in the shop ready, and I just start making them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it a pretty labor intensive process? Is there an average of like taking let's say a 4-dog system? Like how long does that take you to make?
If I was just making a 4-dog, start to finish, maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. I batch things, so I'll make 100 drops, 70 to 100 drops once or twice a week. And then I'll do maybe in a day, 5 or 6 main lines. And I'll do all 5 of those main lines, whichever ones are next in line with the orders, and get those out. If it's roading rigs, I'll do, say I have 4 or 5 orders, I'll do maybe 3 of them up until, because I don't want to go over my lead times or anything. So I'll do what I can handle in an evening. And I kind of batch things like that,
Yeah,
but
that's cool, man. I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff of cutting and wrapping the cables, and it's a fun process. It looks like.
Yeah, I like doing it. I love making the things. They're somebody who's not talented and can't make things perfect. Cable's a good medium to work with because it's kind of like you end up with this thing that's really nice, and it's like, man, I built that, but it's not that hard to build.
Yeah,
it's just some measuring and some smashing of aluminum is all it is, man.
The orange, what do you call it? The orange stuff that wraps around the cable? What's that called?
It's just a PVC jacket. So it's a PVC with certain additives in it that give it properties that make it bendable, UV resistant things, resistant to extreme hot and cold.
Okay,
and still remain pliable.
Is that the heat shrink stuff? Like you have to heat that up then after you put it on the cable, or no?
The heat shrink is just to cover the ferrules, those aluminum ferrules. So what you do is when you smash those aluminum ferrules, you're cold forming it to where the surface lay of those cables, once you strip that PVC off to where you're going to smash the aluminum ferrule, the surface lay it's not perfectly round, right? You got dips and divots and valleys and all this stuff. When you smash the aluminum ferrule on it, what it does is it cold forms to that shape. And you do a certain amount of crimps for each size ferrule, and it holds it tight enough to where the cable will break before it pulls the ferrule out. If you're stripping that PVC off.
Sure.
Before you smash the ferrules.
Oh, that's cool, man. I love that. I love it. Anything, I know you got the roading rigs that you recently put out, right? And
I'm loving those, man.
Is that like a, more of like a flexible kind of thing?
Yeah, it's half-inch shock cord.
Okay.
So that I go, take a big half-inch ferrule, a cable ferrule, go around it with stainless clips on each end, and then I got basically a big industrial hog wringer that I'm using to crimp it to where it doesn't come out, doesn't pull free from the loop. And they come out about 17 inches long. I tried to make them as short as I possibly could because it's a lot easier to make up length than it is to get rid of it, if they're too long.
Sure.
So about what I came out with the best benefit you can get from the stretch and not just get to where it's not stretching enough, 17 inches was about perfect.
Sure.
With the length of snaps I was using. So,
and is that 17 inches stretched or 17 inches not stretched?
17 inches not stretched, total length, end of clip to end of clip. So,
okay.
Yeah. And it's sturdy bungee. So, I mean, the dogs aren't like bouncing around on it, Sure. It's just enough to dampen that shock of you hitting a big rock or, I put up a video not long ago of my dog like lunging at a mouse that came across the road, and you can see that bungee. It absorbed a lot of that shock, but
that's good.
Yeah, hitting bumps and stuff like that, and just keeping strain off their joints. Just that jarring roding or pulling against a chain or a rope or something like that.
Totally. That's awesome, man. Anything new on the horizon that you can share with our listeners that's maybe coming up? That's maybe exciting.
A lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Harnesses. I'm looking into getting some harnesses to be able to offer those along with the roding rigs. I'm still at some point I want to release that force fetch table kit with the pulley and the cable, and somebody gives me a length of their force fetch table, and I can just send them the main line fitted up with what are those called? Turnbuckles, and
nice.
Different length drops and things like that to where they can just kind of be set up, kind of plug and play.
Oh, Brennan, I'm going to be your first customer.
Man, I know.
Sign me up.
I want to get them out so bad. I just hadn't had time to source the turnbuckles and things like that.
Sure.
It's just stuff that I want to do, but just being basically a 2-person show, I just hadn't had time,
Totally. It's a lot to do. So little time.
A lot to do. Yep. I want to do stainless stakes eventually.
Okay. Have
some stainless stakes I can offer, but right now, man, materials are just, they're so high that the guy that I'm working with my stakes right now, he's just like, man, I don't know what he told me my cost would be, but it was like, we're not even going to mess with it right now. I got an idea for longer stakes, like some 30 inches, and, offering those with swivels or without eventually. And I am currently right now working on getting some hats, so I do want to get some merch.
Very cool.
You got to have merch to be a legitimate company nowadays.
Are you even a legitimate company without merch? I mean, that's the question.
I don't even have a hat on my website, man. I'm a poser.
You do have stickers, though. Come on, you got stickers.
I do have stickers. I send them out with each order, but right now I'm out of them, and I haven't had any to send out all week with orders. I'm pretty disappointed about that, but I got another 1,000 or so on the way.
There you go.
And look, if you ordered and you didn't get a sticker and you want one, shoot me a message. I'll just mail you one.
Hey, man, people love their stickers.
I know that.
They are obsessed.
I love them. You love them. We all do. Yeah.
Everyone loves them. You put them over, your vehicle, your cooler.
That's right. Yep.
Stick them on your kids.
Heck yeah.
Oh, well, that's exciting, man. I'm excited for that. I just started looking into building a force fetch table. I got a force fetch win probably after this season, and I'm no engineer, but I'm thinking about, okay, how do I do I can build a table.
Yeah.
Like I've built the podcast table I'm talking to you from right now. But then I'm like, okay, then the rest of it, like the cables and
So if
the pillars and all that stuff. That's what I'm kind of thinking about. Like, okay, how do I do that well? Where do I get the materials? So that'd be awesome.
if you go up, if you do 4x4 uprights and you kind of, chop like a 45 in between it and the table, just like a drop from a cutoff or something, and you get that measurement for me, we can get it set up. Yeah, it's not going to be hard because I can send what I plan to do because, you want to go shorter than longer because longer is going to be ruined. But I'm going to send a couple extra quick links whenever I do it to make up for that length. Maybe if if you got some bowing inward when you go to attach the cable and stuff like that. But it'll work out. If you get it set up and you want to try one, just let me know. We'll use you as a guinea pig, man. Yeah,
there you go. Will do, man. Will do.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's awesome, man. What's been the biggest tie-out system you've made for maybe a custom order?
Shoot, it wasn't one, but I made a guy who was from Colorado. He was a bear cougar hunter. I want to say he was government commissioned for some of the states that he was in, but he bought 3 8-dog, mainline cable drops, big giant clips on them. I mean, it was I couldn't hardly roll those things up whenever I was trying to fit them into a box. It was like I had to send 2 boxes to the guy. I said, man, you see, you're never going to get them this small again. I was like, when you go to roll them up, just make the biggest loops you can possibly make.
Yeah, don't even worry about.
Yeah, those are probably the most robust ones I ever made.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, awesome, man. As we start wrapping this thing up, one of the things I like to talk with every guest about and just kind of get their take. Talk to the new upland hunter out there. Maybe someone heading into their first season. Maybe they just picked up their first bird dog. Whatever the circumstances might be. What's a piece of advice that you would share with them heading into their first season?
Have fun. Have fun and get a mentor with the dog training part, because somebody out there that knows their stuff and is willing to share it with you is invaluable. Be honest with them. Tell them where you mess up. Tell them if you lost your temper. Tell them if, I corrected here when I shouldn't have. Find somebody you can be honest with, and just go have fun, man. Put in the miles.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
Be honest. That's something no one shared before. And I think that's a really key part. It's be honest of your mistakes. And hey, this is what our last session was like. Here's what happened. Here's what I did. Here's what the dog did. Because that's going to give that mentor, that person you're working with, fuller context of the situation.
Some people, as a mentor, somebody you admire, and they kind of maybe don't want to look as bad in their eyes, and so they won't be completely honest. But you got to be honest with them. I'll call up Frank and I'll tell him everything. I tell him too much sometimes. Shoot, man.
So Frank's the one we need to have on the podcast.
Frank Verrett, man, the Cajun. That's right. Dude knows bird dogs, man.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about food, man. Louisiana's got some good food, don't they?
Man, our gas station food is probably better than half the restaurants in Colorado.
You're probably not wrong.
You pull up in a random Chevron around here, they got gourmet fried boudin balls in a hot box right there by the register, man. It's
okay, hold on. I don't even know what you just said.
Okay.
Repeat that.
So
boudin ball?
Boudin, Boudin is what they're called. It's like this rice dressing thing. They deep fry them naturally because it's healthy.
Of course.
And, stuff them with pepper jack cheese.
So it's fried and stuffed.
Yeah, for the antioxidants. And, man, they are good. They're amazing.
Okay, so go on. So hold on. It's fried. It's stuffed with cheese.
It's like this rice dressing thing. So it's like rice, meat. Rice and meat basically is how they come when you don't have the cream cheese and stuff jammed in it.
Just combine rice
and make a ball out of it and deep fry it. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm excited to try one of these or turned off.
You would be excited. They're so good. They got those. Boudin, they make little boudin egg rolls and stuff.
Boudin. Oh my god,
they got it all, man.
Oh my gosh, Brennan,
your arteries don't stand a chance if you come down here.
I'm gonna have to Google this. Yeah. Oh no, for sure. that's a whole nother podcast we'll do on Louisiana food.
Yep.
Stay tuned for part 2. A couple rapid fire questions before we wrap this thing up. Brennan, for you, what came first, the dog, the gun, or the bird?
The dog, man. Yep. I'd say the dog. If I could do, I don't know about what came. They probably all came about the same, but if I could only do one thing, it would be run dogs.
Love it. Love it. What gun are you carrying out into the field to chase woodcock, and why?
Charter Arms 22 blank pistol.
There you go. Threw me for a second.
And I've got my regular gun that I shoot with is just an old Super 90 Benelli. My dad got it for me when the gun was bought for me in like 1992. So it's just an old Super 90 wood stock, nothing fancy. I like an auto loader. I'm definitely not a gun connoisseur. If you wanted to get, some people probably give you some rare answers to these fine doubles they have, but that's never been my speed. So
you're into that blank pistol.
I like that. I like that orange blank pistol more than I like one at $10,000.
Hey, pro tip. Okay, so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The Ram set 22 you get from like Home Depot or the hardware store. Is that like a undiscovered secret that people can use those in their 22s?
Because you can get CCI blanks as well that are made for being blanks, but they're not expensive either, and you can find them. But the Ram sets, you can always find Ram sets. You may not be able to find the brown or green like you want. You may have to get some that are going to have your ears bleeding, but you can always find them. Anything green and up, you better have some dang. Oh my goodness,
dude! Man. I got the greens right now. I have 2 boxes of green to go through still.
They're bad.
I have to wear hearing protection because I will be deaf.
Do you get sprayed on the back of the leg by that powder sometimes when you're shooting them?
Oh, it shoots fire for sure.
I mean, you can get stung back there. You got to really point that away from you. That's exactly why it's on that box. These are not for use in theatrical productions because they're not. You will put somebody's eye
that's
out
why.
With those things.
That's a good point.
Man, they mean it.
I posted a photo one time and someone, I had 2 people reach out and they're like, wait, you can use Ramset in these? I'm like, I think my mentor showed me that. He's like, yeah, because they're always available because you're looking for the CCI ones and, back year and a half ago, you can never find them. And he's go to Home Depot. And sure enough, I'm like, they were stocked up. So
the Browns are probably the best all around for not hurting your ears, but still getting that level of excitement from your dogs to kind of desensitize them to that when you're trying to make them not want to move on the shot,
Yeah, I got to get some of those. All right, couple more here. Favorite dog breed besides the ones you own?
I like them all, man. If they hunt, I love them. But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be a setter maybe. I like those long tails, man. They, I mean, those tails find birds. A lot of people like to say the tail doesn't find birds, but I'm here to tell you,
they find more birds with a longer tail.
I think it's wafting that scent around to them, I mean, I got one dog with a 15-inch tail. Now, you tell me that doesn't come into play with that dog finding birds, man. I'll
folks,
call you.
You heard it here first. The longer the tail, the more birds you will find.
Yeah, but any dog, man, I love them all. If they hunt and they're intense, I love them.
That's awesome. All right, fantasy hunt. Tell us where you're going, what bird you're chasing, what dog you're bringing, and I think that's it. Oh, and who you gonna bring with you? My
fantasy hunt would be taking a litter of pups up north, man, to North Dakota or something, and running on Huns and Sharptail. Kind of late one summer and just seeing what I had. If I ever were to breed a litter or something like that, that would just be a dream, man. I couldn't imagine anything more fun than going up there with a bunch of 8 or 9 month old dogs and just letting them rip and roar. And by the time, you take up a bunch of wild pups and you leave with a bunch of bird dogs ready to get some polish put on them.
Love it. All right. Last question. Beverage of choice after a hunt.
Perrier, man.
Oh, what?
Perrier. Yeah, it's French. Sparkling water.
You guys are fancy. You guys are fancy down there.
Essence of pineapple or strawberry.
So we're not doing like LaCroix or something, or
those are fine, but really most of the time it's probably coffee.
Even after?
Even after, yeah, because I normally got a decent drive home, man. I'll shoot out 2 or 3 hours just for a half a day hunt.
Yeah, heck yeah. You're committed.
Got to be.
You're committed, man. Well, Brennan, this has been a ton of fun, man. I know you're on Instagram, Facebook. Everything's at Cable Gangz. If they want to learn more, check out your tie-outs.
Heck yeah, man. CableGangz.com, CableGangz.com. That's the website. On Instagram, Cable_Gangz. And on Facebook, I'm just Cable Gangz, all caps. So
gotta get that Z in
reach
there.
out. If you want custom work, check out the website. I got some pictures of some custom stuff I had up there, but I mean, people message me all the time for stuff. If you might like some clips that I've never even heard of in my life. If you want them, I'll get them for you and set up a system with them.
I'm actually going to be sending you an email here very shortly with it's a very small thing that I would like done, and I was going to see if it's possible. So
make it happen.
Let's do it, man. Awesome, Brennan. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been a fun getting to know you, having a couple laughs, and I've enjoyed this.
Good, man. I'm glad you had me on. I enjoyed it too. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay, take care.
Well, that's a wrap of episode 61 with Brennan Landry. Brennan, thank you so much for your time and wisdom on the tie-out system and the importance of why and how to use one. It's been a very valuable piece of gear that has been staple to running my dogs now, and whether it's training or hunting. So again, thank you for your time and wisdom sharing that with us. It was fun getting to know you, man, and we had some good laughs. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Hey guys, don't forget, if you want to help support the show, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Those reviews and ratings really just help serve the algorithm gods, I like to call it. That is Apple and Spotify. And so the more ratings, reviews that a show has, higher it's going to get up in a search when someone searches hunting podcast or bird dog podcast. So we'd love to help get this show out there to as many people as possible who want to learn more about bird dogs and hunting and just learn from others. And so it's been a ton of fun to do this with you guys. So share it on social media is another way you can help support the show. Again, helping it get out there to people who maybe have not heard about it before. Maybe want to check out an episode or two and see if it's for them. So anyways, would appreciate any of those methods of helping support the show. Of course, you can help support through Patreon as well to become a Patreon supporter. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been so much fun. Brennan, thank you again. And I think that's it. Man, September's almost over. Let's go October. Let's get our bird dogs out there and put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog into the field, the mountains, the Chucker Hills, and Chucker's open now, right? Yeah. So anyways, have so much fun. Take care.